Welcome to this Ready to Craft. In this video, I will show you how to create a foam board faux canvas using Readi-Board. To begin, I'm going to determine what size of canvas I'd like to create. For this video, I decided to go with an 11 by 14. Determine how thick you would like to make your canvas. I decided to make mine 1.5 inches thick, which is pretty common for canvases. So I will measure 1.5 inches, then 11, and an additional 1.5. Mark these lines clearly. Moving to the next side, I'm going to do the same thing, adding 1.5 inches to both sides of my measurement. This is one of the pieces that I cut away earlier. We're going to use this to create some corner braces. There isn't a particular size you need to make these. You just want to make sure that they're large enough that they can support the corners of your canvas, but small enough so that they don't overlap each other. Moving back to my main piece of foam board, we're going to score our edges. When scoring, I'm only trying to cut through the top piece of paper and a little bit of the foam. You can see that I didn't go all the way through the foam board. Now that I've scored on all my lines, I'm going to carefully bend at each mark. This will break the additional foam in that line. If a particular portion is being stubborn, you can use the edge of the table to help you. Moving on to these little corners, I'm going to cut diagonally. Then remove the foam from these two triangles. I do this by simply pushing up from underneath the pieces. Repeat this for the rest of the corners. I'm also going to cut an additional piece to double up the foam on my canvas's work area. This step isn't necessary if you plan on using your canvas for a more dry media, like pencils, markers, pastels. If you plan on using paint, I suggest you double up. When cutting this piece, keep in mind that you're going to lose some area because of the sides. So I'm going to remove 3/8 from my original 11 and 14 measurements. I'm going to use a smaller piece of foam board to demonstrate the technique that we're going to use next. I have my score line in the center here. I'm going to place my ruler a little bit away from my cut edge. There's not a specific amount, just play around and see what works best for you. I'm using my ruler as a brace to guide my hobby knife. My goal is to hold my blade at a 45-degree angle with the points of the blade moving along my cut. We are not trying to cut through all of the foam here. We're simply trying to remove a small wedge piece of foam board. Do the same on the other side. Now that we have removed this little bit of material, you can see that I can bend the foam board and it makes a nice corner. This is what we are going to do on the interior lines of our project. Before you get the glue out, make sure to test your corners. You can see here I didn't quite cut enough off. So I will go back in and cut a little more. Now we can get ready to assemble. I like to rip off my pieces of masking tape before I start working. I also have a small scrap piece of foam board that I will use to spread the glue. I'm going to fold this flap in because I want it on the inside. And the same with this side. I tried to make the points go all the same direction around my project. I will put a line of glue into my V-shaped cuts. A little on this outside exterior edge, and finally spread a thin layer where the triangle-shaped tab is going to attach. I'll smooth down that little tab and use some masking tape to hold it in place. I'll use my scrap piece of foam board again to spread a layer of glue on this tab as well. Smooth down and tape. On this last edge, I like to use a little piece of masking tape to hold the tabs out of the way while I work. After that, you just follow the same steps as before. Before I've added any additional glue, I'm going to test fit that brace piece that we cut earlier. It appears to fit pretty well, so I will attach it with a generous amount of white glue. Grabbing those triangles that we cut earlier, I'm going to begin installing the braces. I like to use straight pins to hold these pieces in place. The pins hold the pieces securely while the glue dries. Any holes on the outside of the project are easily concealed. I like to let these projects dry overnight. Once it's dry, we can remove the pins Sometimes I have to use pliers for the very stubborn ones. And then remove the tape. Peel the tape in the direction that your tab is pointing. Try making a variety of sizes. You can also experiment with different coverings. This one, for example, is covered using a mix of glue and cornstarch. To create a canvas with some interesting texture, I used Mod Podge and cheesecloth to cover this canvas. This one was created using ripped up tissue and Mod Podge. Craft whatever creative canvases come to mind. If you try this craft out, we'd love to see it. Our social media links can be found in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If there's a foam board craft that you would like to see a ready to craft of, let us know in the comments.